Good morning. Happy Friday, I'm so sad that it's Friday. Listen, I don't want it to be Friday. You may want it to be Friday. I don't. I have my reasons. Hey, Charlotte. Good morning, girl. Praying for you, sister. That's right, it is, isn't it, Rita? Hey, Shirley. Y'all, I'm freezing. I need to open the door. I wore shorts today and a tank because it's going to be 80. But it's far from 80 in my house and I'm freezing. I need to get some warmth up in here. My husband and that stupid air conditioner. All winter long. Okay? All winter long. It's so cold. I'm sick of the cold. Turn up the heat. Turn up the heat. And then summer comes and he turns the AC down to 67. I'm like, what is happening? Why do you need it colder than winter in here in June? I don't like it. All right, enough of my yammering. It's June 24th. Oh, daylilies. I read that as you were going to plant lilies, and I'm like, we can grow chocolate. Oh, thank you. I don't know. What's your real name? Golden Harvest Market. Is that your real name? Did your mom name you Golden Harvest? Because I'm okay with that. Thanks for watching. Telson the prima donna. For real. Diva. Turn up the heat. It's 62 in here. Yeah, same, Jennifer. I'm not picking my kid up, but my time off. Hey, Nikki. I'll do my best to remember that. Hey, Lena. My time off from work. Listen, it may have been for surgery, but I'm not hating having 7 weeks off. I don't want to go back to work. I love my job. If you're watching from my employer, I know you're not, but if you are, I love my job. I just don't want to go back. All right, I'm going to read now. All right, June 24th, the coming Assyrian invasion, Isaiah 8, 1 through 10. Then the Lord said to me, make a large signboard and clearly write this name on it. Meher Shalal Hashbaz. I asked Uriah the priest and Zechariah, son of Jeberechiah, both known as honest men, to witness my doing this. Then I slept with my wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. And the Lord said, call him Meher Shalal Hashbaz. Say that 3 times fast. Before this child is old enough to say Papa or Mama, the king of Assyria will carry away both the abundance of Damascus and the riches of Samaria. Then the Lord spoke to me again and said, my care for the people of Judah is like the gently flowing waters of Shiloah, but they have rejected it. They are rejoicing over what will happen to King Rezin and King Pekah. Therefore the Lord will overwhelm them with a mighty flood from the Euphrates River, the king of Assyria and all of his glory. This flood will overflow all its channels and sweep into Judah until it is chin deep. It will spread its wings, submerging your land from one end to the other, O Emmanuel. Huddle together, you nations, and be terrified. Listen, all you distant lands. Prepare for battle, but you will be crushed. Yes, prepare for battle, but you will be crushed. Call your councils of war, but they will be worthless. Develop your strategies, but they will not succeed, for God is with us. A call to trust the Lord, Isaiah 11:22. The Lord has given me a strong warning not to think like everyone else does. He said, "Don't call everything a conspiracy like they do, and don't live in dread of what frightens them. Make the Lord of Heaven's armies holy in your life. He is the one you should fear. He is the one that should make you tremble. He will keep you safe. But to Israel and Judah he will be a stone that makes people stumble, a rock that makes them fall. And for the people of Jerusalem he will be a trap and a snare. Many will stumble and fall, never to rise again. They will be snared and captured. Preserve the teaching of God, and trust his instructions to those who follow me. I will wait for the Lord, who has turned away from the descendants of Jacob. I will put my hope in him. I and the children the Lord has given me serve as a sign and warnings to Israel from the Lord of Heaven's armies, who dwells in his temple mount on Zion. Someone may say to you, let's ask the mediums and those who consult the spirits of the dead. With the whisperings and mutterings, they will tell us what to do. But shouldn't people ask God for guidance? Should the living seek guidance from the dead? Look to God's instruction and teachings. People who contradict his word are completely in the dark. They will go from one place to another, weary and hungry. And because they are hungry, they will rage and curse their king and their God. They will look up to heaven and down to the earth. But wherever they look, there will be trouble and anguish and dark despair. They will be thrown out into darkness. Hope in the Messiah, Isaiah 9, 1-7. Yes, absolutely, Melissa. We will be praying for her. Oh, poor baby. Oh, she'll be all good. I bet she's in great care. She'll be all good. Poor thing. Hope in the Messiah, Isaiah 9, 1-7. Nevertheless, that time of darkness and despair will not go on forever. The land of Zebulun and Naphtali will be humbled, but there will be a time in the future when Galilee of the Gentiles, which lies along the road that runs between the Jordan and the sea, will be filled with glory. The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. For those who live in a land of deep darkness, a light will shine. You will enlarge the nation of Israel, and its people will rejoice. They will rejoice before you as the people rejoice at the harvest, and like warriors dividing the plunder. For you will break the yoke of their slavery and lift the burden from their shoulders. You will break the oppressor's rod, just as you did when you destroyed the army of Midian. The boots of the warrior and the uniforms blood-stained by war will all be burned. They will be a fuel for the fire. For a child is born to us, a son is given. The government will rest on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His government and its peace will never end. He will rule with fairness and justice from the throne of his ancestor David for all of eternity. The passionate commitment of the Lord of Heaven's armies will make this happen. The Lord's anger against Israel, Isaiah 9, 8-10:4. The Lord has spoken out against Jacob. His judgment has fallen upon Israel. And the people of Israel and Samaria who spoke with such pride and arrogance will soon know it. They said, we will replace the broken bits of our ruins with finished stone and replace the felled sycamore trees with cedars. But the Lord will bring Rezin's enemies against Israel and stir up all their foes. The Syrians from the east and the Philistines from the west will bare their fangs and devour Israel. But even then, the Lord's anger will not be satisfied. His fist is still poised to strike. For after all this punishment, the people will still not repent. They will not seek the Lord of Heaven's armies. Therefore, in a single day, the Lord will destroy both the head and the tail, the noble palm branch and the lowly reed. The leaders of Israel are the head, and the lying prophets are the tail. For the leaders of the people have misled them. They have led them down a path of destruction. That is why the Lord takes no pleasure in the young men, and shows no mercy even to the widows and orphans. For they are all wicked hypocrites, and they all speak foolishness. But even then the Lord's anger will not be satisfied. His fist is still poised to strike. This wickedness is like a brush fire. It burns not only briars and thorns, but also sets the forests ablaze. Its burning sends up clouds of smoke. The land will be blackened by the fury of the Lord of Heaven's armies. The people will be fuel for the fire, and no one will spare even his own brother. They will attack their neighbor on the right, but will still be hungry. They will devour their neighbor on the left, but will not be satisfied. In the end, they will even eat their own children. Manasseh will feed on Ephraim, Ephraim will feed on Manasseh, and both will devour Judah. But even the Lord's anger will not be satisfied. Even then, the Lord's anger will not be satisfied. His fist is still poised to strike. What sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws. They deprive the poor of justice and deny the rights of the needy among my people. They prey on widows and take advantage of orphans. What will you do when I punish you? When I send disaster upon you from a distant land, to whom will you turn to for help? Where will your treasures be safe? You will stumble along as prisoners or lie among the dead. But even then the Lord's anger will not be satisfied. His fist is still poised to strike. Judgment against Assyria, Isaiah 10:5-19. What sorrow awaits Assyria, the rod of my anger. I use it as a club to express my anger. I am sending Assyria against a godless nation, against a people with whom I am angry. Assyria will plunder them, trampling them like dirt beneath its feet. But the king of Assyria will not understand that he is my tool. His mind does not work that way. His plan is simply to destroy, to cut down nation after nation. He will say, each of my princes will soon be a king. We destroyed Calno just as we did Carchemish. Hamath fell before us as Arpad did, and we destroyed Samaria just as we did Damascus. Yes, we have finished off many a kingdom whose gods were greater than those in Jerusalem and Samaria. So we will defeat Jerusalem and her gods, just as we destroyed Samaria with hers. After the Lord has used the king of Assyria to accomplish his purposes on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, he will turn against the king of Assyria and punish him, for he is proud and arrogant. He boasts, by my own powerful arm I have done this. With my own shrewd wisdom I planned it. I have broken down the defenses of nations and carried off their treasures. I have knocked down their kings like a bull. I have robbed their nests of riches and gathered up kingdoms as a farmer gathers eggs. No one can even flap a wing against me or utter a peep of protest. But can the axe boast greater power than the person who uses it? Is the saw greater than the person who saws? Can a rod strike unless a hand moves it? Can a wooden cane walk by itself? Boy, that is some relevance. Therefore the Lord of heaven's armies will send a plague against Assyria's proud troops, and a flaming fire will consume its glory. The Lord, the light of Israel, will be a fire. The Holy One will be a flame. He will devour the thorns and briars with fire, burning up the enemy in a single night. The Lord will consume Assyria's glory, like a fire consumes a forest in a fruitful land. It will waste away like sick people in a plague. Of all that glorious forest, only a few trees will survive, so few that a child could count them. Hope for the Lord's people, Isaiah 10:20-34. In that day, the remnant left in Israel, the survivors in the house of Jacob, will no longer depend on allies who seek or destroy them, but they will faithfully trust the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. A remnant will return. Yes, the remnant of Jacob will return to the mighty God. But though the people of Israel are as numerous as the sands of the seashore, only a remnant of them will return. The Lord has rightly decided to destroy his people. Yes, the Lord of heaven's armies has already decided to destroy the entire land. So this is what the Lord of heaven's army, says, O my people in Zion, do not be afraid of the Assyrians when they oppress you with rod and club, as the Egyptians did long ago. In a little while my anger against you will end, and my anger will rise up to destroy them. The Lord of heaven's armies will lash them with his whip, as he did when Gideon triumphed over the Midianites at the rock of Oreb, and when the Lord's staff was raised to drown the Egyptian army in the sea. In that day the people will end the bondage of his people. He will break the yoke of slavery and lift it from their shoulders. Look, the Assyrians are now at Aiath. They are passing through Migron, and they are storing their equipment at Michmash. They are crossing the pass and are camping at Geba. Fear strikes the town of Ramah, and all the people of Gibeah, the hometown of Saul, are running for their lives. Scream in terror, you people of Galim. Shout out a warning to Laisha, O poor Anathoth. There go the people of Madmenah, all fleeing. The citizens of Gebim are trying to hide. The enemy stops at Nob to rest for the day. He shakes his fist at beautiful Mount Zion, the mountain of Jerusalem. But look, the Lord of heaven's armies, will chop down a mighty tree of Assyria with great power. He will cut down the proud. The lofty tree will be brought down. He will cut down the forest trees with an axe. Lebanon will fall to the mighty one. A branch from David's line, Isaiah 11:1-16. Out of the stump of David's family will grow a shoot, yes, a new branch bearing fruit from the old root, and the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. He will delight in obeying the Lord. He will not judge by appearance, nor make a decision based on hearsay. He will give justice to the poor and make fair decisions for the exploited. The earth will shake at the force of his word, and one breath from his mouth will destroy the wicked. He will wear righteousness like a belt, and truth like an undergarment. In that day the wolf and the lamb will live together. The leopard will lie down with the baby goat. The calf and the yearling will be safe with the lion, and a little child will lead them all. The cow will graze near the bear. The cub and the calf will lie down together. The lion will eat hay like a cow. The baby will play safely near the hole of a cobra. Yes, a little child will put its hand in the nest of a deadly snake without harm. Nothing will hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain. For as the waters fill the sea, so the earth will be filled with people who know the Lord. I have goosebumps. That sounds just amazeballs. In that day, the heir to David's throne will be a banner of salvation to all the world. The nations will rally to him, and the land where he lives will be a glorious place. In that day, the Lord will reach out his hand a second time to bring back the remnant of his people, those who remain in Assyria and northern Egypt, in southern Egypt, Ethiopia, and Elam, and Babylonia, Hamath, and all the distant coastlands. He will raise a flag among the nations and assemble the exiles of Israel. He will gather the scattered people of Judah from the ends of the earth. Then, at last, the jealousy between Israel and Judah will end. They will not be rivals anymore. They will join forces to swoop down on Philistia to the west. Together they will attack and plunder the nations of the east. They will occupy the lands of Edom and Moab, and Ammon will obey them. The Lord will make a dry path through the gulf of the Red Sea. He will wave his hand over the Euphrates River, send a mighty wind to divide it into 7 streams, so it can easily be crossed on foot. He will make a highway for the remnant of his people, the remnant coming from Assyria, just as he did for Israel long ago when they returned from Egypt. Every single time I read the term, the Lord of Heaven's armies, I get goosebumps. Because we just read through that, the Lord of Heaven's armies, the Lord of Heaven's armies. It's repeated over and over and over. Stop and think about being a single person standing before an army, just a regular army, not heaven's armies, okay? Just an army of people, of soldiers. And how intimidating it would be to be a single person standing before an army, okay? The U.S. military lined up, all of them in front of us, standing there at their charge, okay? And how intimidating that would be by itself. Now picture what heaven's army looks like. Vastly bigger, significantly more powerful than any of Earth's armies, completely deadly, an army, okay? Powerful army standing in front of you. Heaven's army. How terrifying it would be to be a person standing in front of heaven's army. And yet, we serve the one who is in charge of all of that. As terrifying as that sight would be, we serve the Lord over that. The one who could annihilate, the one who could put that down with a breath, the one who is in charge, who created, who is in power of that army, heaven's army, which would be utterly terrifying. We serve that one, and that leader loves us, created us, made us the way we are. We are his custom creation. He knows us by name. He knows the hairs on our head, even these fuzzy gray ones that stick out to the side. He knows all about them. He created me and cares for me and loves me. Every time I read that, Lord of Heaven's armies, that's what I think. I think, Wow. The person in charge of that army is fighting for me and you. I don't want to be on the other side of that army. I want to be in that army. I don't want to be on the other side of that fighting army. No, thank you. All right. Okay. Chapter Not So Voodoo is the name of the chapter. The section titled A Mighty Voice on page 174. We are in I'm That Girl. We are on day 52. All right. A Mighty Voice. Come with us back to the beginning, to Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Can you imagine the vibrations caused by such a voice? The power in the voice of the Word, the atom obeying vibrations at the sound of the voice of the Word that created all that is. Just thinking about the awesomeness of this is spine-tingling. It is. I just got goosies. What powerful, explosive vibration must have come forth from his lips to bring the world into existence? John 1:1-3 tells us all things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. Everything, you, us, the galaxies, heaven's armies, all formed through the Word, through the voice of the Word. We started chapter 1 of this book by telling you that your words have power. They absolutely do. But there is more power in God's words than our own. There is creative power and healing power in God's words. It is when we speak His words that His true power can manifest in our lives. Look again at Proverbs 4:20-22. My son, pay attention to my words. Incline your ear to my sayings. Do not lose sight of them. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to the whole body. That's it. It was a short one today. That's another thing. Like, I'm talking about the power in heaven's armies. And the one who leads heaven's armies spoke it into existence with just a word. I love this book because it is darn right. I have learned so well over the years that my words have power. And I'm trying to teach that to my daughter. It's not easy. It's not easy. Can you imagine the vibrations caused by such a voice? Can you imagine? And yet, those of us on this earth think we know better. And those of us who are not followers of Christ dare to stand up. They don't understand. They don't understand because they will twist. They will twist the promises of God, especially in the month of June. You know what I'm talking about. They will twist the promises of God into their own meaning and their own definition. And they dare go up against a mighty God whose voice spoke them and this world into existence. Just his voice. And someday they'll hear that voice again, and it will be powerfully terrifying. Seeing the planets line up this morning stirred up so much awe in Christ. He did that. He made them. He spoke them into existence. He lined them up. Right? Right? Oh, I got goosebumps this morning. And it's not just because I'm chilly. Our words have so much power, and God spoke things into existence. Yeah. We don't understand the power of our words on, behind the keyboard. Those words are words on social media. We don't stop and think about the power of every word coming out of our mouth when we speak negativity to our own selves and our own body. If just we are a creation of the Lord of Heaven's armies, and if his voice has that much power, our voice has some. Our voice has power. And to stand in the mirror and say, I'm not good enough, I don't like the way I look. I wish I looked like this. I wish I looked like that. I get on the scale and I say that number, that stupid number on the $35 hunk of metal from Walmart has power over me. I'm not good enough at this number. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. We repeat those words. Whether we say them out loud, we say them in our heart when we look in the mirror and we go, oh, I wish this wasn't here. I wish this wasn't here. I wish I could lose weight. I wish. Well, those words have power. And if you think for 1 minute that the devil doesn't jump in and use those words when you let them out into the universe, don't think the devil isn't listening. And the devil isn't saying, I see a weak spot here in this one. Let me just go in and pick it. I'm going to pick that weak spot until it rips, until it quits, until it gives up. And we listen to that voice. The geese are getting excited. We listen to that voice instead of listening to the one who spoke the world into existence, whose words. And I don't for a minute think that I could be wrong. I wasn't there. When God spoke the world into existence, I truly don't think that God was like, Earth, I think he probably went, Earth. His words are so mighty. He just spoke and it happened. There was no, I can't imagine there was, do you know what I'm saying? It didn't have to be forceful. It's just, the Bible talks about the whisper. That God is in the whisper, is in the quiet. And I have a feeling that's how the earth was created, with quiet peace. There was no drama behind it all. A gentle whisper, right? Earth. And it was. Because that's what God is, a gentle whisper. All right. Thanks for joining me this morning. Happy Friday. I hope you all enjoy Friday. I hope you get an iced coffee because it's a good day for an iced coffee. This iced coffee was made from the coffee that I forgot to pour out of my pot yesterday. I had half a pot because I ended up leaving the house and I had a half a pot of coffee left over and I never dumped it out and my husband didn't either, thankfully. So I had iced coffee this morning. It's how we do it here in the York household. Iced coffee from the leftovers that sat on the burner for 4.5 hours. Added a scoop of my Trimmy mix and a tablespoon of half and half to make it extra creamy for only 1.25 grams of fat. All right, you guys, I love you all. I hope you have a blessed day today. Stay on plan. I won't be live today. I'm going to be taking Fridays off from my live to work on other things. I have some exciting things happening. I have one really big thing in the works, and I can't tell you what it is. You're just all going to have to wonder, what are we growling at now? What are we growling at? Was there a bug? I have some really, 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 really exciting things in the wings, and I have to work on them. I have a lot of work to do on them before I can show them to the world. So I hope you all have a blessed day. I love you all. Stay on plan today. It's Friday, for crying out loud. Go make an on-plan pizza. Don't go off plan just because it's Friday. I love you guys. Bye.